world below, alien, untamed, and for the most part, unexplored. From the sunless depth of the ocean emerged life's first predators, animals that had to kill to stay alive. The fight for survival, which all species face, took a brutal, deadly turn in the dangerous sea. "4 billion years ago, when the sun was much cooler, the Earth may have been covered by ice. According to a current theory, volcanic vents on the ocean floor funneled elements from the planet's fiery core. When asteroids plunged through the ice, they triggered chemical reactions, which formed the components of life. Very simple life that may have had several false starts before it took hold in the sea." The first mammals evolved on land, but after the age of reptiles, the diversity of mammals exploded. This put new pressure on resources. A few species developed limbs, which helped them to prowl the sea. Some thrived. Of those, the wing-footed descendants, like the fur seals, became strictly marine hunters. The fur seals still return to shore in early spring to give birth, suckle their newborn, and mate again. The few months on land can be perilous, especially for pups. Each pupping season, numbers of newborn are trampled to death or absent-mindedly squashed, despite their inherent resilience. Bulls are well protected. Padded with hundreds of pounds of blubber, they can take a lot of blows, though threats and posturing usually settle a showdown for supremacy. If every challenge led to combat, there'd be little strength left for the ultimate goal: to impregnate as many females as possible. Sometimes, however, an ardent challenger ignores all the warnings. Then, a bloody battle rages until one of the bulls retreats. Winner takes all. The more fat a bull has stored, the longer he can rule, for the vigilance needed to keep a harem leaves little time for hunting. Females must suckle their young and continue to hunt throughout the 3 months of pupping and breeding. By summer's end, the males and females will separate and disperse to migrate thousands of miles. But the pups to be born next spring will already be on their way. Though plant life evolved in the sea, it's often more evident on land. But in shallow coastal waters, nourished by the sun, concentrations of marine grass provide nurseries for young forms. Here, creatures just starting out have access to nourishment and a chance of escaping a predator's notice. The extra oxygen and nutrients that cold seawater contains has nurtured floating strands of seaweed, or algae, called kelp. From the emerald waters off British Columbia, south to California, aquatic forests of giant kelp follow the coastline. This is the fastest growing plant on Earth, reaching the height of a 10-story building in a single season. The abundance of life includes predators, from mollusks to amphibious mammals like the sea otter and the sea lion. Unlike its many land relatives, the sea otter preys solely on marine life. But the otters cannot stay below for very long. The bounty of resources also attracts harbor seals. This species can stay under for at least half an hour, which allows a seal to track its prey through the towering maze of algae. At the base of this wilderness, various predators lurk. The rock lobster conducts its work after dark, all the while wary of a surprise attack. Though a hunter is primed for capturing food, it must also guard against becoming the hunted. Many crabs depend on camouflage, but the decorator crab is a master of disguise. Sprigs of kelp, bits of shells or sponges, even anemones are hooked into its Velcro-like hairs. The costume is constructed, then fastidiously maintained. Instead of using props, the kelp crab survives by blending in. While it feeds on algae, the crab minimizes its movement, a good way of avoiding detection. At the other extreme, some crustaceans boldly display features meant to discourage the hungry. The knobby texture of this crab's armor is intended as a warning. The sea urchin may well be the ocean's most ravenous bottom dweller. Its underside encircles a mouth with 5 forceful teeth that can handle just about any organic material on the seafloor, whether dead or alive. Despite the absence of complex eyes or a central brain, all the sea urchins are well equipped. In addition to their defensive spines, they have hundreds of nasty microscopic pincers. The sea urchins are sensitive to chemicals, which point out the whereabouts of prey or any possible predators. Over the course of hundreds of millions of years, multitudes of sea urchins were tested by change and the rigors of natural selection. A unique solution to three distinct needs was supplied by a relatively simple structure, the tube foot. It supports respiration, movement, and food gathering. Other adaptations have come and gone, but the tube foot still holds. More than 500 million years ago, when the first predators appeared, drastic changes were set in motion. Many soft-bodied animals, like sea snails, evolved armor to protect themselves against the escalating number of well-equipped killers. The hermit crabs chanced upon the benefits of recycled goods. The empty shell of a sea snail could provide a ready defense against an assailant or the occasional thief. The early ancestors of hermit crabs probably took refuge in crevices, but down the line, natural selection favored those who moved into empty shells. Perhaps more of those individuals survived long enough to reproduce, or dared to spend a longer time scavenging for food. Either way, in territories shared with the innovators, the ancestors that didn't use the shells lost out to those with an evolutionary advantage. Not all crevice dwellers needed the protection of a shell. The octopus emerged as the most complex invertebrate in the sea. Its eyes are highly developed, like ours, but adapted for stalking at night. A 30-foot giant pours out of a cranny that's just inches wide. Free of unwieldy armor, the octopus derives many benefits from agility. On the ocean floor, a soft body and radiating arms may seem perilously exposed, but other features serve as safeguards. In addition to excellent vision, this ripply creature has a highly developed brain. The octopus can learn, and it has memory, perhaps a hunter's most valuable tools. A deadly embrace wrapped in irony. The crab, shielded by a shell, ravaged by a billowy mass of boneless tissue, which conceals a parrot-like beak and rasping teeth. Like the hunters that patrol the sky, many that prowl the sea make their way in a three-dimensional domain. Buoyancy may increase mobility, but to a predator in search of food, the sea could seem like an endless expanse of empty space. In the midst of empty ocean, an oasis of marine life, the atoll, an island made of skeletons. Below, the corals thrive, communities of tiny predators bound together by limestone and group survival. Unlike many predatory animals, the reef-building corals live communally and feed as a group. But they must meet their needs and overcome adversity from a fixed position. Stay-put species rely on adaptations that are different from those of creatures that can flee from danger or pursue prey. Some corals change shape to suit the surroundings. In shallow water, which is often turbulent, a coral may be squat, but at depths where disturbance is greatly reduced, the animal may take on a branching form. Like all predators, reef-building corals have some flexibilities and some limitations. They flourish only in warm, shallow seas, and only at depths that light can reach. These conditions are vital to the algae that live inside each coral polyp. The well-being of a colony relies on these residents. Like all plants, the algae use sunlight to produce their own food. They release nutrients that pass directly to the coral polyps. But both diets need supplements supplied by the sea. After nightfall, the polyps hunt. From their common skeleton, each extends a fringe of tentacles that's equipped with stinging cells to paralyze prey. They're poised to snatch the animal plankton that swims or drifts within reach. At night, the currents help carry animal plankton up toward the surface, where they feed on drifting plants. Along the way, they pass the waiting tentacles. Some nutrients that the polyps digest then transfer to the algae, completing the feeding cycle and continuing a bond that began building the coral reefs about 65 million years ago. In geological time, only yesterday. As light returns, the night predators withdraw inside their shields. Steadily, the day crowd reemerges to reclaim the transformed reef. Although intricate and ornate, this habitat is also highly compact, ideal for swarms of dainty swimmers who must scurry toward a meal or dart away from danger. Many reef fish have bodies that are small or almost flat. This enables them to duck inside a tight crevice when they're dodging hungry jaws or choosing a safe place to sleep. Brightly colored species might appear to be easy targets, but most fish eaters hunt at dawn or dusk when color is hard to see. Colorful fish are also protected in bright but dappled light. Their outline and position shift with the play of sun and shadow. Some predatory fish are equipped with special teeth that can crush small crustaceans or the coral itself. In the Byzantine world of the reef, beauty is not always benign, but neither is it cruel. Each living thing does no more than it must to survive. The stonefish missed, but it may get a second chance before its victim catches on. The drive to survive doesn't diminish with size, nor does it depend on complexity. A sea scallop is no less a survivor than a shark, or a whale, or any other species. Only the means differ. The scallop shell is rimmed with fine tentacles and hundreds of unblinking eyes to detect a sudden shift in light. Its warning system is often triggered by the blind but accurate advance of a hungry sea star. The star sees with chemical receptors. The scallop flees by means of jet propulsion. We refer to both as lower life forms. Patterned like the pebbles that surround it, a harlequin shrimp. Its cryptic design gives the predator an added measure of protection while it scours the bottom for food. But locating a meal is sometimes less challenging than consuming it, especially a leather star. The harlequin cannot easily penetrate the limestone skeleton. If the shrimp is to eat, its victim must be flipped. Instinctively, The simple life form struggles with the tip of an arm. This is precisely the best position for leverage. The vulnerable underside now accessible. The sea may depend on the sun for its life-sustaining light, but the tide, the perpetual pulse of the ocean, is ruled by the moon. Along the deep end of a reef, a place that sunlight barely reaches, sponges cling to old coral. They rely on the ocean's flow to bring plankton to their pores. The fanciful sea dragon is a fish of splendid disguise. Its bizarre appearance is matched by its method of spawning. The female deposits her eggs in the male's pouch, which extends from his abdomen back to the tail. The young will hatch while still inside his body. When they start to emerge, the male will be there to assist. Many reef residents are territorial, but few are more defensive than the moray eels. As dwellers of dark crevices, the morays detect victims and invaders by odor, with the tubes above their snout. At night, they can sense prey at a surprising distance. Though the cowfish is a sluggish swimmer, its scales are welded like a coat of mail, subtle but effective. At the other extreme, the lionfish parades its venomous plumes as an open warning. The nostrils of the gray reef shark can pick up the slightest odor. Its snout has receptors which detect the electrical charges emitted by the nerves and muscles in a fish. In some regions, the shark strikes less terror than a school of barracuda. Like wolves, they've been known to herd their prey before attacking. Then, the dagger teeth take over. One of the deadliest predators in the sea is neither a fish nor invertebrate. But as a relative of the cobra, the sea snake cannot kill without resurfacing to fill its lungs with air. The endless boundary disputes between the land and sea have created a dynamic tidal zone. Runoff and erosion release abundant nutrients. Fortified by the sun, a wide range of life forms succeed. Waves and whirlpools funnel oxygen into the ocean. One of the major beneficiaries is the plankton, a variety of animals and minute plants which never stop drifting. While all plants produce their own food, animals are not self-sufficient. Many of the ocean drifters graze on the floating vegetation. Others are predators who sometimes outcompete plankton-eating fish. The larvae of many marine invertebrates ride the currents during relocation. By settling elsewhere, the offspring avoid competing with parents for space and food. Most jellyfish drift throughout their adult life. Descendants of the earliest predators, jellyfish evolved stinging cells coiled inside their tentacles. To avoid incurring serious damage, they must subdue large prey quickly. Some species fire their microscopic barbs in less than 3 milliseconds, with an acceleration 40,000 times that of gravity. Stinging cells are triggered only by touch or chemical contact. Just how, science cannot yet explain. Sponges are the oldest living animals. The earliest sponges appeared well over 500 million years ago, before animal diversity flourished in the Cambrian period. Sponges were clinging to the seafloor long before animals had eyes or reproduced sexually, and before the earliest predators emerged, radically changing the requirements for survival. Many sponges are now toxic to fish that would otherwise prey on them. Some, however, find them a haven. The sea anemones were once assumed to be plants. The tentacles may look like fragile petals, but anemones are closely related to corals and jellyfish. They too have deadly stinging cells. Creatures that look like garden blossoms, but seem to mimic the Venus flytrap. Not all who are beckoned, however, fall prey. Like the algae that reside among coral polyps, the clownfish live among the tentacles of sea anemones. This one appears to clean its bodyguard in exchange for protection. A predator that targets the clownfish may end up the hapless victim. Whether they were clustered in bouquets or anchored all alone, the deadly flowers of the sea were early bloomers among the predators. Virtually sightless and essentially immobile, they continue to hold their own along the rocky shores and sandy floors of all the oceans. From a fixed position, the delicate limbs of a barnacle must reach out and snare passing prey. Before cementing itself to a spot, the barnacle larva monitors several sites, checking the surface shape and texture, the light direction, the force of the current, and the prospects of reproduction. An abalone is no less committed to producing offspring. The drive is equal among all species. Only strategies differ. The sole requirement is that genes survive. Unlike most barnacles, which are hermaphrodites, abalone have separate sexes. The female releases a blizzard of eggs before they've been fertilized. She ejects them from holes used for breathing. Enormous numbers are expelled to assure that some succeed. Not far from the unfertilized eggs, a male emits billows of sperm. The rest is left to chance, which involves many factors, including predators. The feather stars are an extremely efficient group of filter feeders. Despite a willowy appearance, each species has lightweight strength. When ready to feed, it picks a position that's swept by suitable currents. Sometimes it mounts another life form for better access to the prey streaming by. This too is an animal, a basket star. It feeds by unfurling its tangle of branching arms to snatch small organisms riding the current. Spanning more than a yard of seedbed, the giant sun star lives unchallenged. Thousands of tiny tube feet carry the Goliath to a feather star. Though it doesn't have the benefit of true vision, the underdog does not mistake its predator for prey. Tube feet are unique to the spiny-skinned animals, and they play various roles. The basket star's arms are dotted with feet used for breathing and gathering food. The tube feet around the orange sea cucumber's mouth function as feeding tentacles. Because it consumes sediment, this scavenger uses the feet in its mouth to mop up bits from the seafloor. While its tentacles rummage for food, small tube feet on the underside of the cucumber can carry its 24 inches forward. Most sea cucumbers are bottom feeders that push sediment into their mouths, then digest the organic content. But menus are as different as the tubes of each species. This eliminates competing for food. Though related to snails, the nudibranchs have no shell to protect their small, soft bodies. But the advantage is greater mobility. Many are conspicuous, yet little is known about the purpose of their flashy designs, which also appear on certain snails. The Navanax superficially resembles the much larger sea cucumber, but it is a sea slug, like the nudibranchs, and it measures a few inches long instead of 2 feet. While the majority of sea slugs are predators, there are a few herbivores and parasites in the mix. The Navanax gulps down tiny mollusks, but it preys on smaller nudibranchs as well. Relying on chemical sensors, the giant nudibranch preys primarily on tube anemones, which are equally blind. Predator and prey, both species impressively adapted for survival. The ancient mammals that inched their way back into the sea were primarily predators. Of the groups that survived, the dolphins and the whales are the most aquatic. They spend nearly all of their lives underwater. In the sky, winged navigators coast on the tides of ocean air. Below, with all the grace of flight, a giant conquers liquid space. Earth's largest mammal, the blue whale, can weigh 300,000 pounds. This humpback, though much smaller, is nearly 10 times heavier than the biggest mammal on land, the elephant. Most of the sea's largest mammals prey on tiny creatures. Animal plankton is the primary diet of whales, which filter their food from enormous mouthfuls of water. This southern right whale consumes more than 2 tons per day. The blue whale requires 3 times more. In some areas, plankton is profuse. Here, the murky water reflects the concentration of the most plentiful food source in the sea. Like the plankton drifting on currents, barnacles ride on the whales. The unique wart-like bulges on each right whale's head are covered with arm-waving barnacles, grasping at food, an attachment that increases the opportunities of a stay-put life. Evolution is a process that results from change, but often at a rate that's hard to perceive. The sea otter belongs to a group that might be leaving the land behind. A member of the weasel family, it could possibly follow the path of the whales, whose land ancestors ran on 4 legs with claws. In the northern reaches of the Pacific, a mere 30 million years ago, the walrus evolved from bear-like creatures. Initially, it looked much like the sea lions of today. In time, a few million years, some shifted from catching fish to digging up bottom dwellers like clams. Their behavior and appearance altered to improve their hunting method. On land, they were highly protective and gregarious. As their bodies gained bulk, their tusks elongated, but not for hunting purposes, as an old theory maintained. Tusks, for the most part, are social accessories that define status, sometimes violently. To feed, a walrus digs up the seafloor with its tough upper snout. If prey is buried too deep, the walrus flushes it out with powerful jets of water spewed from its mouth. An elephant seal bellows with protest, but doesn't budge. Ungainly on land, the seals tend to sleep throughout the daylight hours. At night, these mounds of blubber transform. Once they hit the water, they're at home. With a single breath, they can stay under for an hour. But as the elephant seals prowl for fish and squid, they're exposed to the deadliest predator in the sea, the killer whale. As a member of the dolphin group, it is not a filter feeder. Its menu includes all the marine mammals, and sometimes even a great white shark. The killer whales use echolocation to find their prey, then kill as a team, cooperatively. Pods can number 4 to 40 and include family members that stay together for life. Killer whales are so closely knit that a young adult under stress may seek out its mother for comfort. Unaware of all that's been or what is yet to come, just a mother's child, surviving for a little while in the cradle of the sea. The little we know illuminates how much we have yet to discover about the sea and the life within it. In his groundbreaking classic, The Origin of Species, Charles Darwin remarked, "There is a grandeur in this view of life. Whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms more beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.